In Argentina, polling stations closed with a turnout of 68.3%. Voting in the city of Buenos Aires was extended for an hour due to technical failures during the day. In Ecuador, the Construye Movement announced that journalist Christian Zurita has the new presidential candidate, replacing Fernando Villavicencio. And in Iran, at least 4 people were killed and 8 wounded during an attack on the Shah Cheragh sanctuary in the city of Shiraz. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Argentina, polls closed at around 6 p.m. local time, and vote counting is underway in the nation's primary elections. In the autonomous city of Buenos Aires, was extended for another hour due to delays and the technical problems in the automated voting system. The National Electoral Chamber reported a turnout in Sunday's election of 68.3%. This figure represents a downturn of over 10% in comparison with 2019's primaries. Electoral authorities also called for patience and said the first official results would not be announced until at least 10 p.m. local time. In a press conference, Julio Bello, General Secretary of the Presidency, stated that people must be patient because the results will be announced after 10 p.m.
Moreover, regarding the issue that is on everyone's minds, I would like to highlight that we must wait for the results because it is well known that some districts are counting votes slowly. Hence, at the moment, we are not able to give an indication on the timing. But as soon as we have consolidated data that announce, we will let you know.
Earlier on Sunday, Argentine Vice President Cristina Fernández de Kirchner exercised her voting right in a school in Rio Gallegos. The Vice President exercised her constitutional right at around 3 p.m. local time at school number 7, Julio Ladvocat, in the province of Santa Cruz. Fernández offered statements indicating that this is an intimate place since her husband, Nestor Kirchner, used to vote there. Meanwhile, the Vice President did not want to make any mentions about the results since she prefers citizens to give their opinion. Sergio Massa, presidential pre-candidate of Union for the Homeland, cast his vote in the province of Tigre, Buenos Aires. On his way out of the polling station, the pre-candidate and current Minister of Economy highlighted the importance of citizen participation. He pointed out that 40 years of uninterrupted democracy is a reason to celebrate, and the occasion was appropriate to congratulate all the logistics personnel and security forces for the excellent organization and good order with which the elections were conducted.
The first thing I want to do is to thank all those throughout the country who are working with the polling station authorities, the public prosecutors, the security forces, who in some way are enabling the voting to get underway on such an important day. So first of all, I want to thank them. Obviously, to all the security forces who since yesterday have been working on the distribution and setting up of the polling station. So I think it is also important.
After voting in a polling station at the Superior School of Health Training in La Plata, the governor of Buenos Aires, Alex Kicillof, expressed that it is a very important day for democracy and called on citizens to reflect on the vote as the way to decide the nation's future.
We are 40 years away from the recovery of democracy and beyond the political positioning, which is honored and updated throughout every election. It is a very important day, a day when all our people have to express themselves and vote in the province of Buenos Aires, in peace, with normality and calmness, a day to reflect and to decide to take in our hands the democratic right to express ourselves throughout the vote. It is a call to all the people of the province of Buenos Aires to go and vote. A beautiful day to go and vote, to go and decide, a day to choose very important elections. We must not postpone the decision, we must vote.
And as Argentina awaits the official results, we keep learning about the candidates that ran in these primary elections. In this case, the right-wing liberal political party Liberty Advances.
2023 is the first year in which the extreme right-wing libertarian bloc Liberty Advances will participate in presidential elections after being founded prior to the 2021 legislative elections, where it obtained 5.5% of nationwide votes. In this case, the party has only one candidate for presidency, the economist Javier Milei, so there will be no internal dispute for the post. However, expectations are focused on knowing the real electoral strength of this party, which stands out for its fiery claims against the political system at a time of strong economic and social crisis, and whose conservative slogans even include the denial of the genocide produced by the last civic-military dictatorship in the country. Javier Milei jumped to the political scene through his participation in mass media, where he argued against social justice and in favor of free market. At the international level, the economist keeps relation with the political circles of Brazilian Jair Bolsonaro and the Spanish far-right coalition Vox. Some of his campaign proposals are the dollarization of the economy as a way to fight inflation and the elimination of the central bank.
Let's take a first short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back from the South. In Ecuador, Fernando Villavicencio's campaign nominated journalist Christian Zurita for the presidency of the Republic as a successor candidate by the movement Construye party. Thus, the coalition abandons its proposal for Andrea Gonzalez as their presidential candidate. Now the running mates will be Christian Zurita as candidate for the presidency and Andrea Gonzalez for the executive vice presidency. Since the official communication to the National Electoral Council has not been sent for the presidency and Andrea will not take part, Christian Zurita will not take part in the upcoming debate. However, Zurita said that they will keep the political agenda of the assassinated candidate, including the fight against corruption.
His condition of activist and of understanding politics and building relationships is what almost brought him to the presidency of the Republic. But also that courage has taken away his presence. Fernando's plan, our government plan, his idea are totally intact, and we are going to fulfill them. Together with him, we are thinking about this anti-terrorist plan, this anti-mafia plan to protect Ecuador with an equipped and well-prepared police force, and above all, controlled. Also because we have one of the great experts in security, General Patricio Carrillo.
In Ecuador, the National Police reported that they're carrying out investigation to clarify the case of Villavicencio's assassination and avoid speculation on the issue.
Ratifying that the National Police, after the fact that occurred in Quito, and in flagrancy, which is an action of the National Police, articulated the investigative units that have given effective results after the murder of presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio. It is so a few hours was able to bring to justice all the elements that led to the hearing is self-sustaining and sustainable that justice has ruled.
Fraser Sosa, National Director of Investigation of Crimes Against Life, affirmed that the evidence gathered after the investigation is in custody.
Thus, when the fact became known, a number of investigative techniques were established that allowed us to individualize, locate, and apprehend the alleged perpetrators of the crime who participated according to the dynamic of the events. It is necessary to point out that within the collection of evidence, several firearms, cartridges, and technological means were collected, which after being fixed and collected, were taken to the chain of custody for the respective expertise.
The National Police of Ecuador also informed that they activated a police deployment for the presidential debate to guarantee the security of the attendees.
The debate is scheduled to begin at 7 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. For this purpose, the staff has already deployed a special device with the delegations for both journalists and security personnel. Regarding the security device that will be implemented this afternoon for the presidential debate.
In Guatemala, social movements, students and trade unions are participating on Sunday in a new demonstration of the March of the Flowers against the actions of the Public Prosecutor's Office and in favor of democracy in the country. The organizers urged to mobilize not only to defend the citizens' vote cast on June 25th, but also with the aim of proposing and imposing the interests of the majority. In this sense, they also pointed out that with a week to go before the presidential ballot, it is necessary to warn the population to prepare for the adverse scenarios that are coming. The march seeks to defend popular sovereignty against the recent actions of the public ministry against the Supreme Electoral Tribunal and the Semilla movement. In Mexico, the rollover of a bus this Sunday left at least 6 dead and 13 injured in the north center of the country. Authorities reported that a minor was among the victims and the injured citizens were taken to the nearest health center. They also indicate that the bus covered the route from Colima State to Mexico City and ended up in the area bordering Mexico State with the state of Hidalgo. Finally, they added they are investigating the fact, although it is not ruled out that the driver's speeding caused the accident. In Bangladesh, at least 55 people died and more than 1 million have been affected in the city of Chittagong due to floods and landslides caused during 2 weeks of torrential rains. People in the district experienced unprecedented flooding from August 4th to the 7th after torrential rainfall started on August 1st. A total of 664 millimeters of rain was recorded during this time, breaking the previous records of the last 30 years. According to the Department of Agriculture, an estimated 165 hectares of crops in several cities, including rice and vegetables, have been damaged. Footpaths of several cities were submerged and the topmost layer of several roads are damaged, resulting in potholes and causing immense public suffering. In Morocco, authorities continue efforts to extinguish a fire in the Remeilat forest north of the city of Tangier. Authorities report that the flames have spread to several residential areas of the region, in addition to consuming about 25 hectares of the forest. For the third consecutive day, rescue teams are trying to put out the flames, in which the worst has been controlled. In this regard, the Moroccan Water and Forest Center declared a red alert in different regions of the country. So far, the causes of the fire are still unknown. In China, at least 21 people died and 6 others are missing in a landslide in northwestern Shaanxi province. Local authorities detailed that the event is a consequence of the heavy rains that hit the region since last Friday. They added that the rescue work started immediately and counted with the collaboration of more than 100 policemen. The heavy rains and floods associated with Typhoon Kanun also affected the neighboring province of Hebei, where about 29 deaths have been recorded. In Japan, meteorological authorities prepare for the arrival of Typhoon Lan. The country's weather agency reported that the typhoon will approach the island of Honshu in the next few days, triggering heavy rains and strong winds. Authorities urge the population to keep emergency reserves ready and to identify high-risk areas. And we have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back from South. In Iran, at least 4 people were killed and 8 wounded during an attack on the sanctuary Shah Cheragh of the city of Shiraz. A group of armed people entered the temple, shooting at the Catholics who were in the place. Church security forces clashed with criminals, killing one of them. According to local reports, 2 armed terrorists tried to enter the sanctuary this Sunday afternoon through the Bab al-Mahdi gate, but they encountered resistance and confrontation by the security forces of the sanctuary. In Pakistan, a convoy carrying about 20 Chinese engineers was bombed when it was passing by the local police station. So far, no casualties have been reported. The insurgent group known as the Palak Liberation Army claimed responsibility for the attack. The victims are part of the staff of the Asian giant participating in the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, a project financed by Beijing with $60 million. The Punjab Home Department has directed the Chinese nationals living in the province or working with private companies to hire private security companies of A category for their security. The Home Department and police held a meeting in the month of February this year to review the security of the Chinese nationals working on government and private projects in the province. Senator Anwar-ul-Haq Kakar was appointed Prime Minister of Pakistan until the next election. The little-known leader will take office amid the political and economic crisis that the nation is going through, starting with the impeachment of Imran Khan in April 2021. The government authorities reached an agreement to select an original Prime Minister of State of Baluchistan. Kakar will head an interim government until the next general and local election scheduled for November 2023. UN's impending pullout has exacerbated tensions between Mali's military government and the rebel coordination of Azawad movements. The United Nations peacekeeping mission in Mali has sped up its withdrawal from the city of Beir in the north after a surge in fighting. The UN mission, known as MINUSMA, said in a statement on Sunday that deteriorating security had made its departure urgent. In recent days, the Tuareg-led Northern Rebel Alliance, called the Coordination of Azawad Movement, accused Malian forces of violating a ceasefire by attacking its forces near Beir. Mali's army has not addressed the Azawad movement's accusation, but says 6 of its soldiers stationed in the town were killed by armed terrorist groups. The Cuban people and the progressive forces of the world commemorate on Sunday the 97th birth anniversary of the historic leader of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro Ruz. The revolutionary leader is remembered as a universal symbol of emancipatory ideas and of the anti-colonialist and anti-imperialist struggle. Among the values and principles he promoted stand out humanism and internationalism, as well as laying the foundations of a system based on equity, having people's well-being at the core of the social project. Every August 13th, the Cuban people pay tribute to Fidel not only in the Santa Ifigenia Cemetery, where his ashes rest, but also in the streets, schools, in daily activities, and in the construction of a better future. We have come to the end of this news briefing. You can find these and many other stories on our website, telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.